sentient broadcast. Target, planet Earth. Begin invasion in 3, 2, 1.
Greetings, invaders. My name is Scott. This is Book Invasion. Thank you for joining me, where we talk about some sci-fi, fantasy, horror books, all good stuff. Today, we're going to be covering White Trash Warlock by David R. Slayton. Now, I got this off of NetGalley a long time ago, and I finally got around to reading it, and I'm so glad that I did. I didn't know what to expect about this book, and I think a lot of people may put it off just based on the title, White Trash Warlock. It seems a little bit snarky, like there's going to be a bunch of trailer park guys playing D&D or something like that, and goofy and non-serious just stuff, But that was not what this book was at all. I was very pleasantly surprised to find that it was a more standard type of urban fantasy. Some have dubbed it a rural fantasy tale because it starts off and takes place in a small place called Guthrie, Oklahoma, which is where our main character, Adam Binder, lives with his great-aunt, Sue. Parallels to this story is that the author, David R. Slayton, let's dive into him a little bit. He is also from Guthrie, Oklahoma. He's a gay male, much like our protagonist in the story, Adam Binder, is a gay male. Growing up in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and being gay is not easy, obviously. And so he's coming to terms with kind of who he is and also the magical abilities that Adam Binder now kind of is exploring a little bit. He knows he has a thing called sight, where he can see across into a spirit realm, but he was never really trained or taught on it. Because of his powers, his family, his main family, his brother and his mom, kind of pushed him away and one day took him out of school to put him into like a psychiatric home, so to speak. And his family really kind of cut all ties with him. They don't talk to him anymore. There was a big kind of falling out between him and his family because of his powers. They thought he was not straight in the head. So now he's living with his great Aunt Sue in Oklahoma. His family live in Colorado. So going back to the author David R. Slayton, so this is his first kind of published work. He's written before in the past. White Trash Warlock is kind of his first story. He shopped around and tried to write different things, but in an interview he said he just kind of wanted to write for himself. He wanted to see characters that he identified with, and so here we go. So White Trash Warlock is it has a lot of parallels to the author. It takes place in Oklahoma. He now lives in Denver, which is where Adam Binder, the character, moves to with his partner, and so there's a lot of parallels there. And in the book, while there is romance a little bit on Adam's part on finding out who he is, he obviously has some crushes on some boys that he comes across. There's some kissing and some cuddling. That kicks off right in the very beginning of the book. So if you're in for a story and you don't want any of that stuff, then there you go. That stuff, it wasn't heavy on the romance, but obviously when he sees some guy take his shirt off, there's a mention of that, but it doesn't detract from the story and Adam's kind of missions. So the story kicks off by Adam finding these magical artifacts and finding out who had crafted them, because the concept of a warlock in the story is a person with magical abilities who is harming other people with magical abilities and breaking the rule that you can't do that. So Adam's trying to find out who's making these little artifacts and track that person down, because he may believe he knows who it is. But while he's doing that, he gets a text from his brother saying, please call me, please help. And he hasn't spoken with his brother. They had that falling out, and they don't speak to each other anymore. So he was kind of curious about what's going on with his brother. So the story takes place in two point of views, Adam and Robert/Bobby. It flip-flops between them because Adam's brother has seen something that makes him think that there's a magical possession that's taking over his wife. And he sees something, and he may have some of the sight that Adam has, but he's never really acknowledged that. He doesn't believe in the magical powers that Adam has. He thinks that's all, hullabaloo. But one day he sees something happen to his wife, and he goes, this can't be right. I don't know what I should do. And so he finally texts his brother to come help. And when he gets there, he finds that something is inhabiting the town. All of the other magical practitioners and things in the town have been killed, and he has to find out kind of who done it. So it's a little bit of a mystery, but it's also kind of an adventure where he has to go on these different paths and talk to these different magical creatures. We have elves in here. We have lizard people in the book. And we definitely have some leprechauns towards the end. So it has a little bit of that lighthearted feel, but it plays well on all of these fantastical elements. Like, it's not so bizarre. It's really a solid read. It doesn't go too crazy with that kind of stuff. Obviously, Adam can see and have sight into this other realm. He can kind of be in that realm while his physical body is like, looks like it's sleeping. And he can talk to these elves. He can go to these watchtowers that are in each town to see what the magical kind of consultants in the town are seeing. And he uses that to track down what's happening to his sister-in-law, and also as a side quest, kind of still find out who's making these magical artifacts and who is the true warlock that's hurting all of these other magical beings. So I felt the story was really kind of fresh and enjoyable. It's a little bit funny. There's a little bit of a humor in there, but not to the point where like, this is a silly book, ha ha ha. You know, it's just a book where it's light and there's some people making jokes. But really the seriousness of the story is about Adam and his relationship to his family, him coming to terms with kind of who he is, growing his magical abilities to track down these things. There's a bit of a love story in there with finding out who he really likes and doesn't like and who these people really are. So all in all, I felt this was a really great kind of urban fantasy / rural fantasy, whatever you want to call it, that has that good representation. So there was a lot of those things in here. And also in the book, what I found really kind of engrossing is there's a lot of the synesthesia type of things where he can see colors of emotions of people. Magical items have different smells in them. There was a lot of those different things that touches those other senses throughout the book that I really felt help you kind of immerse you in the world. And then there's these elves, there's some action, there's chase scenes, there's demons, there's manticores here, there's people dying and getting shot and possessed with things going into their skull, and it was just really a well-rounded book. And I think that people might turn away from it just because it's called White Trash Warlock and it has a cover that's not really representative of what the story is and how it plays out. But I would recommend that you definitely check it out. That was my thoughts on White Trash Warlock. Book 2, Trailer Park Trickster, is coming out, I think, on October of 21. So definitely check that out. Those are my thoughts on White Trash Warlock. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check it out. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.